where we're all in this together, and so we can't go back to the way things were, either in the way you get where you're going or the method you use to get where you're going. Be prepared for a new signalized intersection at Harrison and Aurora. For the first time in 60 years, this intersection gives people a new option. If you use the Western or Seneca off-ramps, you're going to need to find another way because those aren't a thing. Be patient, drive slowly, leave lots of space while everyone's adjusting to the new tunnel and new ways of getting around. We've seen about 50% fewer collisions on city streets compared to last year in January, and so you're staying super safe, and we want to make sure that we continue to do that because it also reduces congestion. Continue to visit our website at seattle.gov/traffic for lots of ideas about how you can explore different travel options. And this is just the beginning of the whole Seattle squeeze, which is about 5 years of tough traffic as we build the city that we've already become. So please stay patient and flexible and kind. Keep doing what you're doing.
So we'll open up for questions, but I apologize, we got started about a minute early, and so you might want to just get your mics together, and then we can take questions. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Nope, that's all right.
Anybody else? Tracy, you good? Yep. You're fine just hang out there. Yeah, okay. Alrighty, so anybody, especially anybody, I apologize if we got started a little bit early.
Okay, so what's the status of the Dearborn ramp and how much longer it'll take beyond the tunnel opening?
Well, we're anticipating, we've always advertised it's about 7 to 10 days longer than that. We're really trying hard to make it happen within 7 days by February 11th. That's what the crews are working towards. They finished paving the south embankment for that structure last Friday. They've been building barrier. There's electrical work that has to go into that barrier. They've been forming and getting ready for that next pour. Those barriers have to cure. Can't put live traffic on something that's half built. So it's going to be about a week. We're really trying to press the contractor hard to be done by the 11th.
Do you have any doubts at this point that you'll open on the 4th for the tunnel?
That's our goal. There's still a lot of work to do. I mean, you guys, if you walk around here today, you can see a lot of activity. I think we're going to be able to be a little more confident in the 4th, the morning of the 4th, probably another day or two. And so we'll make an official announcement then. Right now, we got this great weather. It's dry. We have a lot of pavement marking to do. We're doing that at night and today and paving today. So there's still a lot of stuff going on. We're just not quite ready to say exactly when next week.
People should still continue to do their alternative routes even on February 4th, just in case. Be prepared.
Well, we want people to get familiar with the tunnel. If we open on the 4th, we certainly want people to use it and experience it and start getting familiar with it. I think there's a lot of we're hardwired to use the viaduct, and this is a new route into and out of downtown. It's going to be different for people that work and live in Pioneer Square or at the north end. So as soon as we get it open, we want people to use it.
Dave, talking about that, I've been getting a lot of questions about people who used to get off of those downtown exits, wondering, okay, is everybody going to be doing U's at Harrison to get into downtown, or doing U's here? And what is the possibility that could back us up onto the tunnel with the people trying to do that? What are your anticipations to questions like that?
Well, I mean, number one, we anticipate that drivers will be a little bit confused Monday or Tuesday when we open it. Certainly, that's why we're trying to get the message out. That's why we need all of your help. We want to encourage people to use the videos. We have modeled the traffic volumes coming out of the tunnel at Republican. And there we anticipate there's a large group of drivers that will try to turn right and go back into the city. After having come from the south, they'll turn around and go back south. So that's, we modeled that. We're going to be working closely with SDOT on the signal timing of that intersection at Republican and Dexter. That's very key to keeping the traffic moving through the tunnel. We certainly are trying to avoid backups into the tunnel. I think we're just going to monitor that, and we'll be changing the signal timing there to accommodate more green time so that we don't have that happen.
Dave, on the night that you closed the viaduct, it got a little more wild than I think some of us anticipated. Does that at all inform your plans for opening the tunnel? I mean, are you worried that people might want to be the last one on the viaduct, they want to be the first one in the tunnel?
Yeah, certainly that we learned some lessons from Friday night, and it was a grand party and all that. But we've asked Washington State Patrol and Seattle Police Department to provide more assistance on the morning we open the tunnel, and so we'll have that ready. Yeah, we're just gonna. It's gonna be a little different because there's not gonna be vehicles on the tunnel. We have the grand opening events Saturday and Sunday. A lot of pedestrians, a lot of bicyclists. We'll be doing a sweep to make sure that there's no leftovers from those events, and then Washington State Patrol and the police department will help us on the morning of to clear any last things. We still want to sweep. We want to make sure that this facility doesn't have nobody's left any barriers up or 2x4s. That'll be all cleared out, and it'll be ready for drivers.
Dave, has there been any surprises over the last few days with construction as you guys look to that potential February 4th date?
Well, with construction, there's always going to be surprises. Nothing that we haven't necessarily forecast that would happen. There are always utility work. When we have some drainage, we've found some utilities that maybe weren't exactly in the right location, so we've had to work around those. The ITS, the signing, the illumination, those things, those electrical systems sometimes may take a little bit longer. So there have been a few things that have come up, but it maybe set us back at that location for a day, and we got back on track. Nothing that's been really problematic. The weather's been great. The crews are very motivated to make next week. And so far it's been really good, and I don't foresee any problems that would slow us down from opening next week.
So as of right now, confidently, maybe morning of February 4th, we're still going to open, right? Expected?
We're shooting for February 4th. I don't want to say 100% just yet, but we'll be making a formal announcement in a couple days.
Dave, if you want to talk again, the use of the tunnel itself. When we're in there and you kind of look down the downgrade. I'm kind of thinking the first time I drive that, I'm gonna be like, yeah, it's a little different. What are your concerns about actually, handling that downgrade and just being in there for the first couple of times? I'm not exactly looking forward to it, though I am. It seems like a little for the drivers to handle there.
Well, yeah, I think for some people that find themselves in the tunnel, there are going to be a lot of brake lights and people thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't be in here. Should I stop and back up? I mean, certainly we don't want that to happen. The tunnel is extremely safe from a driver's standpoint. It's if you think about driving the Battery Street Tunnel with those narrow lanes and those terrible sight distances, this is far more safe. Wider lanes, much better sight distances, ability to stop, and I think the drivers will get used to it very quickly. Thanks for that question.
Can you mention Harrison Street opening up and that the Battery Street Tunnel is closing on Friday as well?
Yeah, so on Friday, ahead of the grand opening event, we're going to close Battery Street Tunnel, and that'll be the last time that it's ever open for traffic. It's part of our access to the viaduct during the Saturday event. Harrison Street, in that same overnight, Harrison Street, the barrier that blocks Harrison from being an east-west corridor, will also be removed by our contractor. And so Harrison will open up, if Monday's the day, Harrison will be open for east-west traffic. That you've probably been up there, you've seen the signals going up. The bags will come off those signals, and that will be, again, signed and working and operating as an east-west corridor.
Can you speak to
that will happen simultaneously, the closure of Battery, the opening of Harrison?
Correct.
And we have a time for that?
I do, but I don't have it off the top of my head, Glenn, when that's going to happen. Let me get back to you on that.
In terms of the Battery Street Tunnel, can you speak to keeping people out of that after the closure? A colleague saw some fencing going up in that area. We assume for that reason. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if you have your security. Do you have security on the viaduct now too?
Yeah, we still have security on the viaduct. I mean, it goes back with your earlier question, Graham. So we have a very coordinated sequence of closures and openings because of the grand opening event. So Scarcella will turn the site over to the contractor that's managing the grand opening event, and then they'll hand it over to Kiewit, as they're the ones that are going to be demoing the viaduct. So there's a very choreographed sequence of handoffs that take place at the various ramps. Certainly we have to open the ramps up for the run and the bike ride, and then they'll be closed down. And then back to your earlier question, there'll be a sweep of the whole facility. Hopefully late Sunday night after the Super Bowl, we'll sweep the facility, and then hopefully we'll open it up to traffic on Monday.
Heather, could you, just curious, how would assessing and kind of overall the flexibility and the mobility you guys have had to move officers, move things, open things, shut things in real time. Could you kind of go over what you guys are doing and how you think that's gone during the first 2 weeks plus of this?
Well, I think the first 2 weeks, like I said, have gone just about as well as we could have expected. SDOT, WashDOT, King County Metro, the police department, and the fire department have all been exceptionally nimble in responding to both incidents as well as sort of traffic congestion. What we've observed, and we're not done doing the analysis because the whole thing's not done, but what we've observed is that when there's particular congestion, it's usually due to the weather or some incident, and so which is exactly what we'd expect on under normal circumstances. As far as the uniformed police officers go at intersections, when we see that we have a bigger problem someplace where they aren't, we work with the captain that's in our transportation operations center to dispatch those police officers differently. So, I don't want to, there's no wood around here, so I don't want to jinx it, but things have gone, like I said, as well as we could have expected, and we're just hoping that things continue. Yeah, we're crossing our fingers, hoping that things go well for the next 7 weeks.
What's going to happen in terms of the demobilization of some of the changes that have been made? Someone asked us today, when does the 4th Avenue temporary bus lane come down, that sort of thing?
Well, I think the 4th Avenue temporary bus lane will come down when buses stop using 4th Avenue. So we are working with Metro and with WashDOT to make sure that we don't demobilize that too soon. And so as soon as the buses go to their interim route, the second of the 3 options, we'll take that down. That was never intended to be a permanent installation because buses aren't permanently going to be on that loop ramp down to 4th Avenue.
Can we talk a little more about the bubble activities that John said? Once at our business in that neighborhood with Amazon's growth, it gets very congested.
It sure does.
It's reliable.
Yeah.
Times, there's no picnic. What are you prepared to do to keep traffic back into the tunnel? Because this is sort of the transition out of WashDOT into SDOT.
That's right.
Managing the traffic.
Well, as Dave said, we're working very closely together, and there's some modeling that indicates what we think will happen. We're monitoring that 24/7, and so when it doesn't go the way that we think it's going to go, we have several options that are prepared to lengthen signal timing. There's always an opportunity for us to restrict turns if it turns out that is a problem either for mobility or safety.
You could stop people from using it. Is that what you just said?
No, the turns from Republican or from the roads that lead to, yeah, that's right, or the roads that lead to the reserve. We'd probably try some different options before we restrict turns, but it's always an option for us if it turns out to impact
Do you know
mobility or
how
safety.
many cars, if you have a red light, how many cars would stack up before you're starting to change traffic?
Not off the top.
I don't know if off the top of my head.
Not off the top.
No, I do have the number, but I don't know off the top of my head. Republican ramp is fairly long, and I have to get you one.
So Heather, could you reiterate why we are going to see the Seattle Squeeze, kind of list off some of the big projects in the works and why this is a 5-year thing?
Yeah, so just for this year, after we open the tunnel, we are going to close the downtown Seattle Transit Tunnel to buses, so that will become a light rail only facility. That's going to add about 80 buses in both directions at the peak hours, so that's going to be a big change. Those buses have to go somewhere, so we'll distribute them between 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and a new transit pathway that will be on 5th and 6th. That's going to be a big change. Then later in the summer, WashDOT will toll the tunnel, and that's gonna be another big to shake out. At the same time as all of this is going on, we have the redevelopment of Key Arena, as well as the construction of the Washington State Convention Center. And those are big projects that are going to have a big impact on the way that we get around. As we get into, at the end of the summer, we're going to, as demolition is completed, we're going to start work on Alaskan Way and begin the work of the new waterfront. There's additional work that's going to happen with 520. We've worked hard with WashDOT to make sure that's going to have minimal impacts downtown. But anytime there's a big change, there will be traffic impacts. We're going to continue to talk with folks and with the media to make sure that at every step of the way we're keeping you informed of what the next big thing is going to be. I think we're going to start to see some relief in 2021 when light rail opens from Northgate, and then when light rail opens to the east side. And in 2024, when we're done with the waterfront, we'll all look back on this and laugh.
Can you speak a little bit to this bus lane right here on Alaskan Way, how it's gone during the closure, and what the plan is for next week? If it will continue, will we open all traffic? I'm not sure.
Are you talking about
This little temporary one
Using
right here.
freight and bus.
freight and bus?
The freight
So,
bus.
Yep, sure. I don't tackle that. Thanks, Graham, and that's a good segue. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about where we're standing here and how this area is going to change. So we'll start with your question. So this is this freight and transit have been using this southbound ramp to my right to access the Holgate to King Bridge and get up over into East Marginal Way. Of course, once we open, all of these streets here will open up. The only thing that won't open up is the off ramp from West Seattle or from the south that folks are using to get into the city. But all the other streets here, Dearborn Street, the streets that go, if you head north here that turn into Alaskan Way, that'll all open up the morning of the tunnel opening. So this will be open to general purpose. It basically answer your question. This will open to general purpose. Use that to come and go up and down the ramp that's behind you. Did I answer your question? All right, if there's anything else, we can take questions offline. Otherwise, thank you everyone for coming and paying attention closely and getting this message out for us.